This is just to talk about our successes, our failures, our struggles, our strengths. I'll start out and then you guys can kind of go. We'll talk about the next challenge. And Kim's idea, I can't wait for that challenge because I have found so much stuff on that just now that I'm on Facebook and I'm thinking about it, it pops up. It's like a huge, the Grateful Project, so I'm super excited about that one. But I added a little bit this year, so it was my first year doing the challenge. I've had a blast. I added this week an affirmation. So I gave them I made little business cards and it says, I can achieve anything. So now when they fist pump me, they have to look me in the eye and say, I can achieve anything. I'm telling you, it pumps me up because I'm like, yeah, you can, that's right, you can. And so we're having fun with it. I know Eric kind of glommed on some of the avid teachers, but just an idea because I like to greet them at the door, but that's it for me. I like this challenge.
All right,
don't look at me.
I'll share. What's so funny? Although I'm not going to give you some Teacher of the Year talk right now. I don't have very good news. The first bad news is I apologize that what I'm about to share is not blogged. I meant to write this in a blog and just been one of those years, but yeah, excuses, whatever. So what seems like a very simple challenge actually was very challenging for me, and the reason why is, as a special ed teacher, there's a lot that we're dealing with, such as kids schedule changes, kids with needs, phones ringing in between classes, and especially like the first couple weeks of school, when I think it was really frustrating because I think those first couple weeks are the times when it's most important to make those connections with kids. And those are also the times where I had teachers showing up at my door between breaks, figuring out a kid on their caseload schedule, or teachers calling me, you know, dealing with schedule changes with a guidance specialist. I also have a kid within a wheelchair and a kid who's blind. So they come in and I'm trying to get them situated, shifting the desks around, and so I'm just constantly being pulled away from the door from being able to greet these kids. And so it was tough, it was frustrating, and for that reason. And then I ran into Kimberly Gonzalez, and she's like, well, why don't you just say goodbye to them? And so that was a good idea too. So I started trying to do that. I'm like, yeah, you know what, it's just too frustrating for me to like keep bouncing up and down. So then I started doing that, just kind of saying bye to the kids as they exited, and that worked better. In terms of student response, kind of mixed. Kids are really skeptical. I don't know why. And that kind of brings me to another idea. Like, you know, like, it's unfortunate. Like, what has like shaped these kids to be skeptical of teachers being so kind to them? Mm-hmm. You know, and so if we as a group can influence and change that culture and kind of shift that so that these kids, you know, don't think it's weird for their teachers, for somebody that they spend so much time with, to greet them and connect with them on a personal level. You know, I mean, that's a huge culture shift, I think. And, you know, we're starting to do it, so that's pretty cool.
I'm sorry, I walked in late. We're sharing our experience, right, for the first month. Yeah. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Eric, new teacher in this history department, so another Eric. At first, what I noticed from my students, some of them, like you were saying, they're pretty skeptical. They kind of look at you like, okay, what does he have some trick up his sleeve, or what is he up to? Yeah. Others, you immediately establish a connection. So they come up to you, they have like a secret handshake they want to do or share with you. I had students, for example, one of them's a guitar player, and I play guitar as well. So after we kind of made that connection, he started bringing in his guitar to school, and he was showing me how to play a few riffs. And I brought my guitar to school, so we were teaching each other a few tricks here and there. He plays a lot better than I do, so I'm learning from him. Today, I play soccer as well. The kids know that. So one of the kids brought a soccer ball, so we were playing keepy uppy outside of class. As kids were coming in, they were joining in, so we were trying to pass the ball to each other. So I think greeting students at the door, it's definitely beneficial for us as teachers and for them as students as far as getting to know each other. I have to admit that towards the end of the month, I was slowing down. I was getting stuck at my desk, just taking care of other things. I was trying to make an effort of going to the door and saying hi to them and shaking their hands. But generally, I think it did help as far as building rapport with my students.
I'd like to say something. So I too had a hard time doing it at the beginning of the period. And so I chose to do it at the end. And at first, my students were so at the end of the period, they're taking their folders to the bookshelf, and then I would stand at the door and not let them go, and until I was there. So as soon as the bell rings, and sometimes I don't hear the bell because I'm playing piano and they're singing and they're pretty loud, especially with 60 kids in my 5th period. So the bell rings, they're like, oh, the bell rang, and they're starting to walk out. So then I would pull them back in and be like, no, you can't leave until you give me a high five. So some of them at first are like, why do I have to give you a high five? But toward the end, they were making eye contact. And with 60 students, it's really hard to memorize all of their names like in the first couple weeks. So what I was doing is on their way out, I was testing myself on their names. And obviously I couldn't get them all, but then they would help me out. Then they were like, okay, starts with an H or whatever. And I'm like, Holly, no, Hillary, or whatever. And then it was fun to do that. And then I realized that in choir, I don't always give that individual attention on one-on-one because I'm not walking around like you guys maybe get a chance to walk around. So I'm at the piano or I'm conducting. And yeah, I mean, if I'm conducting, I'm trying to make eye contact with everyone, but I don't always do that. And so I realized that sometimes I didn't notice, like so-and-so, yeah, I take roll, but when they're standing there, I don't notice like, oh, that person wasn't there, we really missed that voice or whatever. But making eye contact with them, at least on their way out, it's like, oh, that person was there. Or, oh, so then my 2nd period, I have 40 students, so it's less of them, but then I would think, oh, I didn't take roll today. Okay, well, on their way out, I high-fived so-and-so, okay, so-and-so wasn't here. So then I was remembering, which helped a lot for me. And then as the 30 days came to a close, I wasn't always remembering to do it. But then they would then wonder, then they would ask like, oh, are you gonna high-five us today? Not all of them, but a couple of them who maybe like that connection and like that, making that eye contact with me. So I think now I'm gonna attempt to do it, maybe not every day, but still do it on their way out, because it's a nice, like, bye, remember we have a concert next week, and even just reminders. T-shirt money's due tomorrow, or whatever.
T-shirt money.
T-shirt money, yeah. Did I say teacher? Oh, T-shirt money's due tomorrow. I may have said teacher money. Oops.
That is actually my retirement.
That may be for it, but anyway. So yeah, I liked this challenge, and it was a challenge. At first I thought, oh, I do say hi to my kids every day, but no, I don't. You get stuck at your desk. Now that we are turning in uniform money and all those things, people have their grade checks. I'm stuck at my desk on their way out, or if I don't hear the bell, then they run out to lunch. So it was a challenge, and I have not yet blogged about it, but I will. So thank you.
I'll cut you off so that somebody else can talk. No, you're welcome. You're welcome, everybody. So for me, it's been a lot of fun because I got Kid Moore here, and I'm next door, and Bao and Gonzalez and Mancini, and I love yelling at him across and saying hi to Kim. So I come out and there's that connection too, and kind of checking, oh, so-and-so didn't do it. Okay, so that's good. So yes, I'm watching and counting.
Crystal
Okay.
check me.
So that's part of the fun for me. And then now it has grown to, it's funny, it's grown to other kids that go by. Like kids that are coming down from 0 period and they go by, it's like, hey, hello. They're going to her room and I'm like, I don't even know that kid, and or Kid Moore students too. So it's a lot of fun, and my kids are enjoying it. There were a couple of them that we switched from handshake to fist bump, and because especially the girls weren't comfortable at all. They were like, don't touch me, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I am creepy, you know, so I get it. I get it. So, but it's been a lot of fun. I have they're writing on Wednesdays. We're thinking about how has that been changing. So we've been writing paragraphs about it, and also, you know, how that makes them feel. And most of them are very positive. Most of them say that they feel like they're ready to start their class, and then there's somebody that cares about them learning. And most of them are putting that there's a respect that you're saying hello to them that is coming from the teacher first. And in Argentina and Mexico and in Vietnam, it's the students giving respect first. You say hello to the teacher first. And so then that switch that we're doing it, at least for my ELD 3 kids, has made a difference. And so, pretty cool. All right, I'm out.
I got one. I added a little personal challenge to mine because this is my second year doing it, and I actually last year maintained it the entire year. And so this time what I wanted to do was find those super resistant kids and the super shy kids and come up with something to say them at the door, see if I could kind of break that mold. So I have a girl named Kelly who would not say a word to me for 4 months or 4 weeks. I mean, literally, she has trouble just saying anything. But as the fist pumps happen, I would then follow, when the class ended, I'd walk over and kind of see what she's into. And she's an artist. So I said, okay, hey, can you make me some art sometime? And she just looked at me floored. And I'm like, I love student art. I'll put up on my wall right next to I have some other student art. Will you make me some art? And she looked at me like I was a creepy dude, you know, like, what the hell's wrong with you, Mr. Dykes? You know, no one's ever talked to me before. And so every single day, I would go up to her afterwards and say, will you make me some art? And so today, she came up to me, she goes, well, what kind of art do you like? As we were leaving, and I told her, I go, anything. Because she likes anime, I go, I love that stuff. So we'll see what happens, but I just feel like I made a connection with her because I'm like looking for those kids who I normally wouldn't make a connection with and trying. So that's my added challenge to myself.
So with her art, Mr. Jimenez or yourself, when they sketch your 1970s band, make sure they get the shag carpet and details shag carpet.
Dang it, you did.
By the river.
By the river.
Curtains over the
So I've kind of adapted it to just doing it with a few periods. I'm pretty good about it later in the day. Start of the day, for some reason, it's difficult for me, but I've changed it to when I see students I've had or have right now in the hallway, I go out of my way to shake their hand, kind of get in their space and place in a friendly way. And one of the voices aides told me today, he said he was eavesdropping on a few students' conversations and said, well, Mr. Vallejo, he shakes your hand when you come into the classroom door. Made me feel great. Yeah. Really makes me want to step it up and take it to the next level too.
You know, there's 2 Vallejos on campus, right?
The next level is no hugging, okay? There's no what the next level is. So
I'm not going to the next level.
So I know you're a new guy.
We're gonna have to edit our teacher's house.
Oh yeah.
Big time.
What next level?
Well, I surveyed my students on Monday, so I'll post that in the blog so you guys can see. But it was a mixed thing, and I think it was funny because Alex and I were reading them, and some students, and they were anonymous, but some students were like, I don't like it, and then you could see like, I asked kind of the same questions in different ways, and then by the end, more students were like, well, it is kind of really cool. I mean, you got 50% that love it, and then you've got the kind, and it was kind of leery of, you know, what's the intent, or, you know, if I'm having a bad day, but then by the end, well, when I do have a bad day, it's kind of cheering me up, like I get the little things. So it was interesting to see, but I'll post that so you guys can see. And I used a Survey Monkey if anybody wants to use that to find their students. I can just forward that over to you.
One that I really like that actually Eric did last year that makes a really easy blog is taking the selfie as they're walking in. I did that with my Linker kids. And it's funny because even those kids who, you know, are all about selfies, half of them wanted to do it, and the other half of them were like, "Are you nuts? What are you doing?" You know, and that made and that would, I mean, if you don't know what to write about, that'd be a really easy blog to do.
I like that.
I think for me, I try to kind of stand outside of the door. If you saw Crystal's video where I look extremely creepy, all my students like were dying laughing at that, as no one greeted me as like students are like, yeah, that's about right, Mr. Sierra. But I try as much as possible to stand outside of the door, and sometimes I might be erasing something or jotting something on the board. And I don't think you have to be outside the door. It's acknowledging someone. And as Josh said, it's kind of sad that the students are like taken back by that. In the past, was I like a terrible person where I wasn't even acknowledging my students as they walk through the door? So yeah, like even if, I don't know, maybe I'm behind the desk or doing something in the back of the room and someone comes in, hey Josh, good morning, just to like get them woken up, you know.
A little creepy.
Balances out where there's more people, maybe, I don't know. But I've also noticed that I would probably say like 40 to 50% of my students who they're greeting me almost before I'm greeting them. And I think in general, and I kind of blogged about this, but I think by acknowledging those students that clearly we're kind of making ourselves a better teacher and just a better person in general, but it goes both ways where the fact that they're greeting me, I feel like we're kind of making better people and having them acknowledge other people along the way.
But you're doing something right, because two students came up to me this week, or one this week, one last week, and one told me something very personal that she had shared with you, and it was really personal. And that's amazing that a teenager would want to share something personal with another adult, let alone a teacher, you know, so whatever you're doing. And then you inspired somebody to go into the poetry club. So, I mean, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Because I hear it all, unfortunately, or fortunately.
All right, any struggles? Well,
Well, I don't know if it's much of a struggle, but I've had two girls, they more than once have come up to me and started talking to me about their issues with their boyfriend, and I'm like, I don't know what to say.
You're like, oh,
So
You just smile.
that sounds tough.
Counseling is the front office.
So to me, it's like I just looked at that. I don't know what to say to them. I just say, okay, it's all right. Do you feel better now? What's going on? I mean, this is my first year teaching at a high school, so I mean, I'm open to advice from you guys as far as what to do in situations like that.
Maybe just say that you appreciate them coming to you, but maybe a woman would be, a female perspective would be better.
Well, I think sometimes kids just want to be heard.
Right.
They don't really want to know
Yeah.
what you think of. They just want to tell somebody, and then.
And the
they
fact
feel
that they're
better.
going to you, like what does that say about
Right.
you, you know, like that they feel comfortable enough to talk to you or seek advice from you, like that. In a lot of ways, it's a compliment. Obviously, there's a line somewhere in there you have to decide, but I don't know, I would take that as a compliment that the students feel comfortable with you, and if students feel comfortable with you, then when you're in the classroom, then the learning is that much easier. So you're truly doing something right.
And I think there is a definite line. No,
You
not
know.
a thing, yeah.
Edit that. It's just a thing.
But that's true. The closer you get, the more of this relationship that you build. I mean, they do, and like they reveal personal stuff, and it does happen.
But this is a safe place. If they feel safe enough to bring those up to you, then you've done something good, I think. Yeah. It creates problems sometimes. I know having to do multiple social service calls a year with their Avid program, but those kids really appreciate the fact that you've you've taken the time to do that, even though sometimes you know, what you do throws their world upside down. In the long run, they're always the ones that are most grateful to the fact that you took the time to care about them. And so creating those connections, I think, is what we're all about, what teaching should be about.
Yeah, and kind of going back to that and thinking, within the last year, I've had a couple of students who've come and talked to me about friends or themselves and like major kind of emergency issues, extremely personal issues, and to where I have to get other people involved, and they're completely aware of that. But again, if these are like emergency issues, and the fact that they're actually willing to talk to someone about that's a huge step in the right direction, instead of allowing that whatever to continue to go on. And so it's amazing to think that something as simple as standing in front of the door, you're potentially changing a kid's life who might have some issues and asking you about it or asking you for help along the way. It's crazy.
It's like Cheers. I mean, you become norm. Like you want to be where everybody knows your name. And I mean, like there's some kids that I don't say hi to them. They'll come up to me and they'll be like, "Hey, why didn't you say something to me today?" And I develop a relationship with my students because of the unique subject that I have. But this year I've noticed that they've become way too comfortable earlier than later, which is not a bad thing, but then we just have to set up our boundaries and stuff. But I mean, it's pretty cool. And then plus it does get class started a lot faster. Same as with the quick write, but it does get it started faster because they know that you've been acknowledged. So like, let's get started.
For me, I found being at the door can help with the kids academically, and I can hold them more accountable. I check their work when they come in as much as I can, and when they know I'm going to be there checking their work, they're more apt to do it, and they appreciate that I take an interest in the paragraph that they wrote. So more and more I'm trying to be there with my clipboard to check their work, and they know that if they don't have it, they got to go to the end of the line before they get in my class. I've been doing that mostly 6th period. I've seen other teachers do it in our department. I think it's a really effective way to hold them accountable.
So a challenge that I found was, I'm a very happy person, and so I don't really know how to deal with people who are angry or not smiling. So like, I'm always smiling for the most part. And I had a student who was in a really bad mood. Usually he would come in and smile, and then he was just in a bad mood one day, and that was hard for me because you don't want to be like in their face and be like, "What's wrong?" Right? Smile. But that was what I wanted to do, and so I was just like, "Hey." It was awkward, and then he noticed that I was maybe wondering, and then he came up to me during class and was like, "I'm sorry, I'm not having a good day." And then then we talked a little bit about he was having some issues with some friends, but that was hard for me because then I have another student who's a football player, and sometimes he's in a bad mood and sometimes he's in a really good mood. So sometimes he's like smiling, and then sometimes he looks angry, and it's kind of scary for me to say hi to someone who's not smiling back, I guess. So that's been a challenge for me, to just give students who maybe aren't as happy, to give them their space and know that that's okay, that just because they're not smiling doesn't mean that they're not willing to learn, or that they're not I don't know, that they don't love me or whatever.
And in the survey, a handful of students, I would say like 3 or 4, actually said, it makes me uncomfortable because if I'm not having a good day, I don't want the teacher to think it's about them. And so when I greet them and they are having a bad day and not really wanting they feel that's what makes them uncomfortable. So they were very specific about that. So it's interesting you have to say that. Well, since you all have to go greet your students at the door, commit not to sit starts today, and really it doesn't mean that you can't sit. You can sit with the students, but your goal is that you're not sitting behind your desk.